Lost in the station of time, it was late at night, thunder rumbling, and rain pouring down like a curtain. Jong-yong hurried along the deserted street, head down. His watch showed 11:55 p.m., and he was on his way home. The darkness felt strange, with the outlines of distant buildings blurry, and the street lights flickering ominously in the rain. Just as he prepared to walk faster, an old, forgotten train station appeared out of nowhere. The station looked like it had been abandoned for decades. Its weathered walls and rusted tracks hinted at a long history. Jong-yong had never seen this station before, and it certainly wasn't supposed to be here. Out of curiosity, he pushed open the half-closed iron gate and stepped inside. Inside the station, silence greeted him. The air was thick with the musty scent of decay. The clock on the station's tower was frozen at 11:55, matching the time on his watch. He stared at the unmoving hands, a growing unease creeping into his chest. Something felt wrong, out of place. The platform was deserted, dust coating the ground as if no one had walked there for years. Just as Jong-yong was about to turn and leave, the distant sound of a train whistle echoed through the air. He looked up, startled. From the dark tunnel, a faint light approached, growing brighter. His heart pounded. How could a train be arriving at a station that seemed abandoned? The train pulled in slowly, stopping at the platform without a sound. The door slid open. Hesitant but curious, Jong-yong stepped aboard. It felt like stepping into a dream. The train car was empty, with no passengers in sight. The scenery outside the windows blurred, like a distorted puzzle of time and space.
The train began moving, slowly heading towards some unknown destination. Jong-yong glanced up and noticed the clock inside the corridor was showing 11:56 p.m. Just a minute's difference, but the world outside the window had changed. He was no longer in the present. The view outside was a small town, one he recognized from his childhood. The streets, houses, and people all appeared exactly as he remembered, eerily real.
How is this possible? Jong-yong muttered. The train stopped, and he stepped onto the platform, realizing he was standing in his childhood town. But as soon as he set foot outside the station, he noticed something strange. The people on the street had frozen in place, their movements halted as if trapped in time. He walked closer, reaching out to touch one of the figures, cold and stiff. The train's whistle sounded again. Jong-yong turned and ran back to the station, jumping aboard the train once more. His heart raced as the train resumed its journey. The scenery outside shifted again, this time showing a moment from his adult life. His office, co-workers, the meetings he rushed to attend. But inside the car, the clock still pointed to 11:56 p.m. Time had stopped moving, trapping him in this strange loop. Suddenly, Jong-yong understood. This train wasn't just carrying him. It was carrying different versions of him from various timelines. Each stop represented a moment from his life, past, present, or future. And that frozen clock back at the station marked the end of time itself. Panic set in. He ran through the train cars, hoping to find an escape. But at every stop, the train only brought him to a different fragment of his life. It felt endless, an inescapable cycle. Desperate, Jong-yong jumped off the train and returned to the station once more. The clock was still stuck at 11:55. He began to suspect that this station wasn't a real place at all, but a trap, a prison designed to lock him in time. If he was going to escape, he needed to break the cycle and restart time. He searched the station and found an old, rusted manual clock mechanism. Taking a deep breath, he twisted the mechanism, forcing the hands of the clock to move. Slowly, the minute hand ticked past 11:55. As the clock struck 11:56, the world around him shuddered. The air grew lighter, sound returned, and the frozen scene around the station began to come to life. He heard the train's whistle once again, but this time, it sounded real. The train arrived, and Jong-yong saw figures moving inside the carriages. This was his last chance. He boarded the train, and as it pulled away from the station, he left the frozen world of 1155 behind. The night outside the window began to fade, and dawn's light broke through the clouds, casting a warm glow on the tracks ahead. Jong-yong had finally escaped the prison of time, leaving behind the station frozen at 1155. Though he never returned to that mysterious place, every midnight he would still feel a lingering reminder that time is not something easily tamed.